Hi everybody, we're Leveraging Influence here today, and we're talking about priorities again, and often the myths that people fall for that can destroy a business. It can destroy your incentive, destroy your, well, your ability to thrive.
It can be discouraging.
Very discouraging.
It can mislead you. There are certain myths that interfere with your capacity to run a business. And those myths show up right at the beginning, especially for some people. As they begin their business, they get discouraged. The myths that interfere with your ability to prioritize, meaning to put things in the right order so as to get things done for the market and become successful. There's a couple of them here. One is that, if you build a better mousetrap, people will beat a path to your door. That old expression is a myth. First of all, they got to know that you've built a better mousetrap. How do you evaluate better? They got to know where you're located. They got to know the path to your door. In fact, they got to know you exist. One of the signs of a sustainable business is that it serves a clientele that doesn't usually know they exist until the offer's made, until they've marketed, they've bridged the gap. And here's another myth. The idea that all there is product or service. Let's just say product for now. It could be product or service and customers. Well, in between is arguably the most important knowledge gap, meaning distribution. You have to bridge that gap, and most people don't know how to do that. They think of it as, well, if I have a great product, and so they invest in online products and services of all sorts, saying that, look, I know this thing's great, and then they're going to go out and sell it. They haven't figured out how to bridge the knowledge gap. People don't know how to get to the path to your door. They don't know your door exists. They don't know you're even offering a better mousetrap. So marketing bridges the gap. It's the knowledge gap. Well, the knowledge gap, again, involves another myth. Sound knowledge is cheap, or sound knowledge is free. It most certainly is not. You need to have the skills. You need to have a knowledge of your markets. You need to know something about economics. Those are things that people can help you. A team can help you, for example, to learn those kinds of things. Learn your market, learn your product, learn your service, how to find your market, and then the tools that help you to leverage the market. That's why we called our business, in fact, Leveraging Influence. To leverage the influence, meaning to take our products and services into the market, we have to leverage our capacity to do so. The fact is, there's probably the greatest single fallacy, one that really involves, the deadening of prioritization. And that's the one that says, yeah, this is all a great idea. I know I got to do something, and then they're too afraid to act. In fact, you can guarantee 100% failure if you don't act. All of life has risk to it. And when you prioritize, what you're doing is you're learning to manage the risks so as to minimize the dangers, the obstacles, the things that interfere with productivity, with service, the things that enhance your ability to bridge the gap between your service or your product and the customer, whom you have to help direct to find you, who starts out not knowing you even exist. So you got to get them on that path. You got to teach them why it's a better mousetrap. You got to teach what the mousetrap does. In fact, you got to find the people that want the mousetrap. They got to be able to locate you. Then they have to make a determination whether or not it really is better and why it's better. And you know what? There's another myth related to all of this, that you have to be the best at everything. The world is full of very successful mediocrities. In other words, there have been services and products that really are mediocre, but they knew how to market. I'm not saying they were lying. I'm simply saying, there's that too. But they simply knew how to reach their customers when the very best out there was afraid to act or didn't know how to reach the customer. And when it comes to the best products, the world's full. The world is a graveyard full of the very best products that simply could not reach, couldn't jump the knowledge gap from product to customer. So if you're going to prioritize, you have to understand there's certain things required of you. You have to understand that knowledge isn't cheap. It isn't free. At least good knowledge isn't. you have to act. You have to understand there is risk involved. But you learn in prioritization to minimize risk. You put things in the proper order, the proper sequence, the situation and terrain. As the military puts it, situation and terrain, meaning what comes up in front of you has to be dealt with. You have to have such a knowledge of your customer, a knowledge of the markets, a knowledge of your competition, a knowledge of your product and services, so that you can handle each situation and the terrain in which you operate.
When you have that knowledge, your fear lessens as well. I can tell you that. There are times when I don't want to answer that phone because I don't really know what I'm talking about. Well, you have to know what you're talking about.
Over the years,
learn your product.
Over the years, arguably the most rewarding service that we've offered, that we've learned to offer, is how to market.
Right.
That's the one thing nobody wants to do. They equate it with sales teams and salesmen and shysters and that kind of thing. That's not what it is. Marketing is simply the sound knowledge that leads you to move from product or service to the customer. It markets. In other words, it moves, it links the two together. And sound knowledge, good knowledge of the markets, will enable you to do that. Then within that, you begin to set your priorities in order to meet the market where the market demand is and with the supply that you bring to that market. So I hope this has helped.
I do too, everybody. So we're leveraging influence, and we are encouraging you to press on. Thanks for listening today.
Thank you.